Hey, it's Edge here, and today we're taking a look at technical analysis for Bitcoin with Elliott Wave Theory. Today we're going to be focusing on, again, more of the local timeframes instead of the higher timeframes. If you're more looking into that macro picture or want to take a look at that, I have a video made during this weekend where we went through all the setups and all the possibilities that I have currently for Bitcoin. So if you enjoy that more, check that out. But now continuing on this one, where we had a few different options here. Again, some of the ideas are starting from these lows, some of these lows, again, based on the higher time frame structures. It depends completely on those where you want to be starting your accounts from. We had a few different ideas here, either starting from here, having this as an A, B, and C, but again, that did not really play out. This is, again, way more longer structure or range that we are right now in. So most likely, if we are still in an ABC structure, this wave B here would be somewhere around here once we can figure out some kind of structure like this before we are actually shooting up for that potential C wave up in here. This is again something like this, where we would create that B wave somewhere in here, and in the middle we would be creating an X wave like this for that larger structure to be continued before again we plummet down for that end of B wave, and then we would have a similar partner leg for this one. So again, that is all about the symmetry that I'm looking for. But again, in the lower time frames here, we definitely have trade setups that we are going to be taking in the meanwhile while this whole thing is cooking up. One of these structures again from these lows is that that we are correcting up higher. The way I've labeled this previously was that we had this as an A wave, B wave, and C wave into a W wave, three-way pullback into X. This is a very impulsive looking structure, so we would have this as a five-way structure, and we would be looking for a partner leg for this A wave with that C wave here, so we would be creating some kind of zigzag pattern here. At the moment, the local timeframes here does not really seem too impulsive, but again, they can turn into one for sure. The other one, WXY, would be very similar here, where we would have this as an A, B, and then C wave here. This does not really seem impulsive either at the moment. This does seem like it is looking to be done soon here. And again, if we want to be looking for longs, we would be going against these lows, as we have this as a potential of starting something. Now, why I don't really like this anymore is that because again, the proportions. I do think that this X wave is not done, and I think that it is better looking if we are creating this as a smaller time frame structure here in sub-minuet. This just because again, we did not hit the 38.2 here in price, as well as some of the structures that we have here. So again, as this is going to be creating an ABC, I don't think this structure here is anywhere comparable to this first structure over here. And as we see that we are comparing these wave structures, they are similar in size. So this structure here would be pretty similar in size to this, which is again the same degree, now that we have made these structures one lower degree. So that's why I do think that this seems a bit better. We definitely have a potential long setups here, or long setup here at the moment. We're going to be taking a look at that later on with the more local structures, but keep that in mind. More bullish ones, we have a potential for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, a triangle in 4, and then we would be looking for this as an A wave, three-way structure looks pretty good. This again, that five-way structure, and then we would have this as three-way structure and looking for that C wave. Again, instead of having this as a end of something like we had on this count, we would have it as a start of something very similar to this other count here. So again, here we would be looking for that C wave down before another drop downwards. Generally on this B wave, we shouldn't be crossing the 1-to-1 extension in time, which would be around Sunday, 18th of December. So next week. So again, this week we're going to be having a CPI data, FOMC, and PMI, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of things are going on. So definitely there could be a range coming in, but there is definitely volatile events and news this week that definitely can move the market. So be ready for that, and be careful when you're trading, because again, those moves do happen fast. But yeah, again, expectation on discount would be down overall, probably around these areas here, golden pocket, these order blocks here, and I think there was dailies and monthlies there as well, or weeklies. Let's take a look at actually here, daily and a weekly, right around the golden pocket here. So yeah, definitely has some confluence there as well. Moon count is this one where we would have this as 1 2 1 2 1 2. It's possible, not really likely though. We have already taken out the lows here of that previous wave 2 here, so that for that reason I don't think this is going to happen at all. With the RSI cycles, we have already taken out these lows as well, I think. Let's take a look at that. So that would be 18.7, 18.91. So yeah, it is not really likely that this is going to go up in the moon with this setup at all. Just wanted to mention that, but again, as I showed you this before, I wanted to make an update for you as well. Now into the local structures, let's go into the 5-minute structure. Here we had again most likely either we have this as a 5-way structure with some kind of very ugly diagonal here, or we have just a WXY here. We are getting right around the 1.236 extension, so this is again more bearish targets. If we go below the 1.618, then we can talk about more of the bullish scenarios. There is definitely a possibility where we are still going to be creating one more leg downwards for this wave Y. At that point again, I would think that we should have labeled this as a ABC instead. So we would have this as 1 2 3 4 and 5, something like that, or 1 2 1 2 3 4 5, to get one last leg in here and get some kind of divergence going here. But yeah, that's that. The range of the weekend was very choppy. It looks okay as is, where we have this as 3 ways, 3 ways and 3 ways, taking out again that wave W with the wave Y, completing that wave X here, and then coming down. But yeah, that is that at the moment. Not really much else to talk about it. There is again other scenario here where instead of this ABC that I've labeled it, KG mentioned that again we could have this as a 1 2 3 4 5. That is very possible. And while the extensions are not really that good here, as we see, we are hitting right around the 1.382 and not the 1.618, which would make it more bullish. I have it here. It is still possible. This retracement came back down right into the golden pocket. So again, that is something to keep in mind. And that is why we got this pretty decent bounce. We did not really have a good looking divergence in there. I think we did have this as that divergence. Not really spectacular by any means. Not really sure how we're going to be even labeling this. Is this a diagonal or is this an ABC? There is of course a possibility where this is again that ABC that I just mentioned here, that I've labeled here, and then we would have extended flat here, where we took out the highs of A wave here, or the origin of A wave, and then created something like that. Again, it is very extended here, but again, I would forgive that as we are on this very small time frame, and some of the moves are pretty skewed here. But yeah, that's that. We'll see if we break these lows, then we can look for more down pressure. If we break basically these highs, then we could be looking for either a continuation of this structure that we had as a 3-way structure from here all the way up into these highs around 17k, or we would be just pumping up from here with a 5-way structure. This would be 1 2 3 4 5 3-way pullback. However, again, this would be very small in time. So if we had that 5 waves, I almost would like to see another low being made here, because again, this would be very, very short in comparison to this possible impulse move, right? So this could take a bit of time, and taking out these lows would definitely give us a bit better look here before again attempting up higher. But I think that is going to do it. Again, long setups would be against these lows that we had here around the 16.65. Yeah. And this would be the setup you would be taking basically. And this would be again that 1-2 setup, or on A, B, and then 1-2 of that C wave that we're going to be looking for here. So I think that is going to do it for this video on Bitcoin. If you again made it this far into the video, I would appreciate the likes. Link to my free Discord server in the description below. And for now, I thank you for watching and hope you have an amazing rest of your day. See you next video. Bye bye.